Look at we. I'll tell you one thing, ladies and gentlemen. Man, this is what we all been waiting for. This has been a lot of great weeks during the season, and now we are in the finale, week number 10 of the LHSAA football season, the Hash It Out Show game of the week, and it's a big one coming up on Friday for the District 10 2A championship. It will be the South Plaquemines Hurricanes. It will be the Isidore Newman Greenies. We're here with the head coach of the Isidore Newman Greenies. We have first year head coach Aaron Vice. How you doing, coach?
Good, good. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Appreciate you taking the time to join us this morning to talk about this matchup and everything. And coach, you're going into your first season, step in, have a lot of experience under your belt. You have been an assistant for University Lab for 3 years and everything, and you coming in, stepping into a really good program. What was really kind of the approach coming into Newman, and what were your thoughts about making the decision to take this job?
Yeah, I mean, it's to me, my background. I've been in independent schools, and that's what this is, a K through 12 school in Houston, and then at University Lab School, which is very similar, and just kind of my comfort zone of understanding the culture of these schools and the high academic expectations. And there's only so many of these type jobs, so when it came open, I was, all in on trying to get it. I wasn't looking to leave. I really loved U High. I'm a Baton Rouge guy, LSU guy, and loved my time there. But this was this job is, comes open every 15 to 20 years or something like that. So you got to take a chance, understanding that it's not one that's always there. So it's been a joy. I've loved my time here so far.
I can understand, and I know you're kind of used to the Crescent City now, so it's kind of a good thing being in Uptown New Orleans, getting some of the culture and the flavor, and learning more about Isidore Newman. And like you said, it seemed like it was not surprising to you what you were stepping into anyway.
Yeah.
And I know you pretty much like what the facilities offer, and also what the school it stands for.
Absolutely. It's high academics. We teach here. We don't have athletic period. A lot of people wouldn't want to deal with that, but I understand that the culture of our school is academics first, and that's why you come here. It's great kids. It's great teachers. It's fun every day. You get to about to have a elementary PE class walk by, and it's a different world. So for some people, it's not for others, but it's something I enjoy.
I understand. I understand, and looking at the institution itself is more like it's kind of like a university lab, more like a college type of setting and everything. But especially the stadium in itself. Have you got used to being around Michael Lupin Field now? Especially, you probably been there before, but but being there and working there, how it's been, especially having a whole home field advantage like that.
Yeah, it's a cool. It's a smaller facility, but the way it's set up, it feels crowded even if it's not, because there's only stands on one side, then you're surrounded by the campus. So I think it's pretty unique. I was lucky we came here and played when I was at U High in a quarterfinal game, and that was the first time I had ever been here. I was like, man, it's a pretty cool spot. So it's been fun. Uh, at U High, our field wasn't on campus, so every game was an away game. The adjustment here has been like, oh, if we forget something, it's right there in the equipment shed, So that's been a nice deal. But it's definitely a good home field. But we're going on the road this week, so it is, that'll be a little bit different of a challenge.
Well, looking at the beginning of the season, kind of a tough start, but you guys played a real tough schedule, really prepared y'all, and y'all guys started to make a run and everything. How it was making adjustment to your players, but then on top of that, how did the players adjust to you, and especially when you guys started to realize, hey, you know, we've been through some tough times. Now we need to work together to get this season going.
Yeah, we started out with De La Salle and a Jamboree, who's probably the most underrated team in our division. They've played, the SEC in their pre-district, so they got a little banged up, but they're rolling now. And then we went St. Charles and Riverside, who are both 1 or 2 in the power ratings in their division. I have a ton of respect for both of those schools and those staffs and know those guys well. We weren't ready for that. Just the program here is not, it's not St. Charles with what they do in the summer and all that. So we knew it was going to be tough, but we played hard. I thought we matched them physically, and then Riverside, we had chances and kind of just made some mistakes that young teams make. And then we had a bye week from then, and then we kind of got it rolling. The bye week was huge, and just looking at what we had and what we needed to do, especially offensively. Defensively, we played all right in those games. Special teams and offense had to kind of catch up. And I think we're in a good spot now, with the changes we made at quarterback and finding ways to get the ball to our playmakers. And it's, I told our team when we were sitting at 0-2 that, in 7-8 weeks, it's not going to matter. And they looked at me crazy, and it really doesn't now. We got a chance to be a top 8 seed, maybe a top 5 seed, depending on how things fall. Now, obviously, had you won those games, you'd be in a great spot. But, at the end of it, football seasons as they go, you're climbing this mountain. And, every now and then you'll take a loss. And sometimes you get better from that negative.
5-game winning streak, Coach. And you've been averaging over 40 points a game. And it's been amazing with the run. Last week, a tremendous win against Country Day. I mean, Country Day has been a very improved team themselves. And for y'all to really put it up and handle business at home last week against Country Day. What you can say about last week's performance going into this week, like you said, it is going to be kind of different that you got to go on the road to Beerus to have a chance to defend the district championship.
Yeah, last week I'm usually not a take the ball first guy, but they were really good on offense, Country Day. So I thought if we could get it and try to get a lead and then kick it off and play field position and try to get a 3 and out, and can we build a lead? And it went by script, and we, first play, Jake busted out for a 60-yarder. We get a stop, we get it back, we score. We get another stop, we get it back, we score. So it kind of, probably snowballed on them a little bit. I think if we played that game again, it would be different. It was closer than the score probably indicates. But we have, high school football games are one with who makes the explosive play. I believe that. It's hard to go on 10-play drives. They're high school kids. You might get a bad snap. You might get a false start. So hitting some big plays is something that we've done a better job at, that we work, that we believe in, being aggressive on offense, and that helps our defense. The bad thing last week is we scored so fast a couple of times. We got guys going both ways, and they're throwing the ball all around. So we got a little tired at times, and it got a little hairy there, but we held on in the second half and ended up hitting a couple other big plays and kind of kept that. They never got to shrink that gap. So it was a great effort all around from our offense, defense, special teams, total team effort type deal. As a coach, I like to avoid shootouts, and that was the goal. And it was close to being one of those, but we kind of bared down at the right times. Obviously, this week going down to South Plaquemine, who won the state championship, it's been great for years. I've never played. The only time I've ever gone down there is to go fishing. So I know we're going to a hornet's nest. They'll be fired up. It's a long bus ride, so we'll see how we react to that, because we hadn't really done that since week 1. But hey, if you want to be good, you want to play in the playoffs and make runs, you're going to have to do these things and go on the road and win in tough spots.
Definitely understandable. Talking about your players, Jake Randall sets the tone for your offense for Isidore Newman. Can you tell me maybe 2 more players offensively and maybe 2 players defensively that is key, that is really helping the Greenies this season?
Yeah, Jake was a running back and was committed to Tulane, and I went up to him before a St. Charles game and said, "This is probably not going to be easy, but you're going to be the quarterback." So he's done a tremendous job at adjusting. 2 guys, we got a bunch of guys, but 2 guys on the offense that really help us go. We got a senior, George Loop, number 8, who's committed to the admission process at Dartmouth as a receiver. Big physical kid, could play anywhere in the state. He's phenomenal. Good speed, but has helped us. He'll block on the perimeter. He'll line up in the backfield. He'll catch short passes. He'll go deep. So just one of those kind of how we do our offense. We got guys that do different roles, and he's kind of a Swiss Army knife. So he's been a huge part of what we've done. And then the other one or two, our other two best receivers are Hendrix Hill, who's a junior, and Kyle Villery, who's a senior. And they're kind of the same thing. They all three of those guys are interchangeable. They can play inside, they can play outside, they can line up at running back, and they're all selfless and will block for one another, block for Jake, because essentially our running back is our quarterback and our quarterback is our running back, So those guys on the perimeter, I think that's what helps us. Teams try to scheme us up defensively. If you want to just play man, we got guys that can beat you, and we got a guy that can throw it well enough. So I think that's been the maturation of the offense. I didn't know if we'd ever be a team that could score 40, but we found ways to manufacture big plays. And there's, eventually there's going to be a game where we got to grind it out. But I think, we have the ability to do that with moving pieces. On defense, we have an outside edge rusher, Ian O'Boyle, who is a returning all-district guy from last year that lines up at, outside linebacker, D end, could be an inside linebacker. And this really helps set the tone. He's long, he's hard to block, and he's physical and aggressive. And then we have our secondary. We got two seniors, Calvin Drake and Jack Falgoose, who are returning starters, who are just good little gritty high school football players. Calvin's going to go to Rhodes, actually, I think, to play. Jack's a baseball guy. It's also a kicker. We got a bunch of those guys that just do a lot of things, 2A football. And those guys help set that tone. Our defense coordinator, Doug Lichtenberger, does a great job. I don't mess with the defense. I'm busy with the offense and special teams, but I just tell them, let's change the looks. Let's change the looks. Don't give the same presentation each week, and we don't. And I think that's really tough on high school quarterbacks, high school OCs, when it's new stuff. They got to adapt. Let's control it, not let them control it type deal. So we've done a good job of that. We've been bend but don't break at times. We've also made some really big plays on defense.
That's a unique thing, Coach. It's a very unique thing, and it's gonna be interesting to see on Friday night. You know what I'm saying? That's something I like that a lot. When somebody has a variety of different styles, especially defensively, and it's like you don't know what you're gonna get. Let's throw this in. Let's okay, we're not gonna go with this. We're gonna go with that. I like that. That sound like to me, like on college football, sometimes it's like if we got a variety of defense, I'm like, you think we're gonna run this, we're gonna run something else.
Yeah.
But I really, really like that strategy. Last question, Coach. What would it mean for Isidore Newman to go out to South Plaquemines, get the win, and win the district championship?
Yeah, I think it would be a huge deal. When you talk to the team, I just remember from my days of playing. I'm 41, so I'm getting older. The district championship was a big deal. You used to get the extra PowerPoint and all that. I feel like with all the things that's going on in the OHSA, maybe district championships aren't the same. I think in football it still means something. In other sports, it's gone. But still a championship, and not everyone gets to go play for the ultimate championship. So you'll take it when you can get it. I'm trying to stress to our team that it's going to be a playoff like atmosphere, and that's the biggest thing. Can we be mature? Can we handle those emotions? And can we, we've played some teams that weren't able to punch back as well. This team's going to be able to. I said you're going to a hornet's nest, so it would mean a lot in the grand scheme of things. Is that if you don't win, it's not the end of the world because you still got the playoffs coming, but you want to win. You want to have that good momentum going into the playoffs, feel good. It helps seeding, and then to be able to say you won the district title. And obviously, like I said, they're very well coached and they're a good team, so we know it's a challenge.
And this game will be a big one Friday night over at Hurricane Stadium in Barris, Louisiana. Isidore Newman and South Plaquemines for the District 10 2A championship. It'll be a big one on the Hash Down Show game of the week. The countdown to kickoff will be 6:45. The kickoff will be 7 o'clock. Tune in for this big game on JB The Sports Guys YouTube page. Check it out and tune in tonight for the Hash It Out Show at 7 p.m. And we're going to talk a little more about some big matchups coming up this week in week number 10. Head coach Aaron Weiss of the Isidore Newman Greenies, we appreciate you joining us. We wish you the best of luck at Newman and Friday night against South Plaquemines.
Thank y'all.